Good morning and welcome to this week's Norma Talks. This is the 20th of January and inauguration day for Joe Biden as president today, on this morning already. And in the beginning of January, I did a reading for January. And in the middle of it, and I'm just going to tell you what I said because I thought I had the photo of the reading to put up, but it seems to have taken a little bit of a walk. But I had said coming through was quite hot. Nothing was moving much, a lot of sort of coming from a hanging on point of view. And then we came into what we call the tower symbol. And I went back and re-listened to what I said. And it said, what I'm getting is after which was the next symbol into the tower comes sometime between January 20th to 24th, because that's part of me. I don't make a lot of predictions like that, but it was very clear to me that something was really going to happen. So I kind of feel a little relieved that I actually used the word after the 20th, up to the 24th. So it gave a little timeline there, which I had kind of forgotten. I was thinking, oh, this is the 20th, but I knew I had the 24th in there, but it's after. So I'm going to show you a screen here, somewhere here. I got to find it. I'm sorry. Here it is here. I got to bring this. Somehow I want to bring this up if I can. I'm not having much success. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry about this. It's just not coming through. I had it all organized. Oh, hang on. Share. There we go. See this picture here. If I can make it bigger, it'd be great. Probably if I can spread it out and make it a little bigger, it'll help. So I sat down this morning and said, okay, what are the conditions around these next 4 days? 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 5 days. And this is what I got. Because remember, there was the tower sitting there, and it was actually very significant to me. That's why I wanted to show it to you again. Because in the tower symbol, when I'm reading for that for a person, usually there's a little bit, I always look to see how much of the tower falls down. And usually it's just a little bit. But this time it was like half the tower went. And so I knew it was something quite dramatic. And then it got, the last few symbols for the month got a lot easier. So in this one here, what it shows, this is what we got for the end of December, the death symbol. The death symbol means there has been a shock, or it has been, it's actually a war that's gone on. And now that, and the death means what, something has died, it's the end of, but we're knowing that we never, ever, ever die in the soul, because of the soul. The soul always lives on. And some of us will already have situations where they felt like death in our world. But what happened was we transcended, or we moved on to other circumstances that follow. But see this difference between where this horse is and where that sun is there? And you'll see the sun over here again. So you're heading, what I love about the death symbol, I'll be honest, is that it's about transformation and moving forward. It's about leaving the past, which hasn't been good, moving ahead. But what we've got here right beside it this time is this Five of Pentacles, which to me, I gave it the saying of out in the cold, because that's what it represents. These two people are out in the cold. But what you want is right here. So it's about aspiring. It's about aspiring to something higher and not being super upset over what has gone on. Acceptance is one of the big things I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then the Temperance, which actually, this is number 13, this is number 14. It follows the death symbol, because you're still working on your path. But you've come to a realization, you've come to an awareness, because this is the number 14 is the end of the 7 symbols that talk about your spiritual understanding, your philosophical awareness, what that you've come to learn and understand, but you're quote unquote not there yet. This pathway here is still awaiting. So I'm basically going to say that in these next few days, I'm going to bring that back there, that really it's still about transformation, about change. But a lot of that change is about not getting caught up in your fear or your anxiety or your frustration of what that may be. Sometimes we forget when we get emotionally caught up with a result that may be not exactly what we wanted, or a result that means we have to test ourselves a little more, and we have to be a bit more tolerant, we have to be more accepting and forgiving. We forget that everything comes down to how we're thinking about it. What is the end result we are wanting, really? What is the end result we're wanting for ourselves? Because if we get all caught up, what'll happen, that begins to backfire, and you might say boomerang and back into your personal life. And you don't really want that. The key also is to remember two things: thoughts create. So you want to have a thought form for yourself, because no matter what is going on in the world, it is your world that you need to look after. You can send great healing thoughts. You can send thoughts out of what you end result you want on the bigger picture. But the reality is your life is where you are. Your life is how you're thinking, feeling, and responding at this moment. And so therefore, that's what begins to make a huge, huge difference in the direction of where you're heading and where you're going. So there's that. The other element I was thinking of too that crossed my mind is that we tend to forget this, that this is a planet about love. And so what is love? It's that feeling, that wonderful feeling of everything. I just watched a series on Netflix that talked a lot about love and acceptance and forgiveness, and it was great. Bridgerton, I think it is. I got fixed on it, which I sometimes do, and very emotional. So a few tears down my eyes as I look back at my life too, to remember certain things. But that's sidetracking here a little bit. To me, what I have come to discover is that love is really about acceptance of what is, and forgiveness. We cannot move and change anything without acceptance. Sometimes I think I'm just banging on an old theme all the time, but the reality is, I know I can get caught up and forget, hey, what needs to be accepted here? Sometimes it's disappointment, sometimes it's a real shock, sometimes it's the passing of a loved one, sometimes it's what's going on now, being locked down a lot, not getting out, not seeing friends. And more I talk to friends too that say they're not phoning people. It's like we're beginning, this depression element is seeping in to our society. So we're not reaching out, we're not doing that. And I talked a little about that a few days ago anyway. I don't think it was last week. I might have been on my Sunday talks, but anyway, we did talk about that. So thoughts, let's go back to thoughts for a moment. This is where the subconscious is really important, because the subconscious has remembered everything. And thoughts that are usually part of your programming, but not always, your own personal programming, what they do is they surface and they set up your vibration. So when your life isn't really working the way you want, that's one of the places to look at. What is my thought? What is this thought that's going on? Because the thought will trigger the feelings. And if you don't deal with the feelings, then you have emotions which have blocks, which create more hassle in your life. And what we want to do really in the growth process is to move beyond all that, so that we create a life that we're contented with, that we're happy with, but we're not being stagnant. Because I've mentioned before, when I got peacefully contented, I didn't push myself any which way at all, and then things began to erode. Because we're here to have an experience. We're not here to sort of sit on our laurels, no matter what our age or what our circumstances are. It's about moving forward and recognizing that the love energy is always there, always. It's us that separate ourselves from that universal love energy. It is us which bring things not always in. And sometimes it's there. I sit down and I remind myself, I have to bring that back in. It's very easy for me to do that. But it's also very easy for me to get caught up with whatever. Right now I'm doing my year-end bookkeeping. That's another story. Sometimes I'm using a new program, so it's like a new thing, and I'm having to assimilate that, and I'm making mistakes, and I have to correct those, and it sometimes takes way too long, and I get impatient a little bit. So am I really actually working with the love force at that moment? No, but you know what I have done when I was having an issue and I couldn't solve it? I sat quietly, not at my desk where all my papers were, but somewhere else, and I just said, help me see this. And the next minute I had the answer. Ask and ye shall receive. It's one of the tenets I have lived my life by. I love those three things. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and it'll be opened unto you. And there's a third one, which has just gone out of my brain for a moment, but it's there. Knock, ask, and whatever. Those three tenets that come off, yeah, they come out of the good book, but it's very true. Do we ask for solutions? Do we ask for clarification? Do we ask? And I find answers all over the place when I ask. I want to know what this means, or I want to know what's happening here. And within usually 24, maybe 48 hours, I have the answer from somewhere. Something pops into my email, something I'm watching, the answer is given. The answer doesn't always come the way you may want it, and it may not be the answer you want, but you will get the answer if you ask. There is this huge force out there, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter the name, that responds to you. You are the beacon of your life. You are the beacon of light. You are the beacon of awareness. Now, it is true, the more you can grow and the more you can become aware, the easier it is to have that connection. But remember, that love force, even though it lives outside, needs to come inside. I was reminding a client of mine that the other day. Remember, just take a breath and bring it in. And the more you do that, the more your system gets used to it, and the easier it is, as the saying is, in a twinkling of an eye, you can be solid, connected, aware, and allowing yourself to grow into a beautiful, beautiful awareness. See, it doesn't matter in a way in your life per se. Well, that's not true, because it does matter to you. There's a lot of things going on with people out of work, people depressed, more suicides, more people getting the flu, blah, blah. All those things that are going on. But what matters is that you maintain your light. You are a light. There is nothing more beautiful in a dark winter's night. At our Christmas services we used to hold, where we had darkness, and then we started lighting a candle, and the candle light, when it traveled around, and there we all were with our lights representing us, lighting into a new world, lighting into a new day. So when you get up, remember that light of love. Now, in synonymous in a lot of spiritual things, you'll hear people say, oh, I'm sending you light and love. What does that mean? It means light equals love. So you're getting a double barrel of love, because the light itself has love within it. And when you connect with that, I use color in my work, transformation work, because I used to say, look for a light, and people get confused. I think I'm looking for, the light in the room. So now I say color. What's your favorite color? Feel that color. How does it feel? Sometimes we have to add other colors to get a feeling that's acceptable and comfortable. And then when you bring that inside, we also need to feel the love. And then we start moving the love. But you see, a lot of people, it takes a while to get used to that love coursing through your body. It's a foreign. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can trust that. And then you get caught up in your mind as to what's happening the next day or the next month or whatever. But truly, you can work that light. You can bring that light in. You can know that no matter what is occurring around you or even to you, that if you need strength, you ask for it. If you need courage, you ask for it. If you need clarity, you ask for it. And it comes. One little point that just popped into my head. Sometimes we ask, but we feel we know how things show up. We think we have it all solved or sorted. So the thing is, we ask, then we've got to be open to hear the answer, feel the answers, whatever that is, however that's going to be brought, because I'll guarantee very often it's not how you think. I tell a story from years and years and years ago that's popped into my mind, so I'm going to share it with you. I was in a bus, and that time I was living near Vancouver, and for some reason I was in a bus. I'm not sure where I was going, but I kind of remember where I was in town. And there were two ladies sitting in front of me. And one lady turned to the other in the conversation they were having. I couldn't help overhearing, but I wasn't really paying attention, but this sparked my attention. She turned to this lady and said, "I've been worried about this happening for 10 years, and now it has." And I was sitting behind. It took all my power not to burst out laughing. Can you imagine that you have put energy into an event that you do not want to have happen for 10 years, and then kind of surprised it's happened? And that's how the majority of the world is. They don't realize the power of their thought. I went home to see my mother one time, and I was learning a lot of things, and I knew my mother was a worrier, and I knew she was worried about me because I lived up here in Canada and she's in New Zealand. And I said to her, "Mom, I don't want you to worry anymore. I'm fine. Everything's good. Everything's happening." And she turned to me and in all sincerity said, "But darling, what would I do?" I realized then it was a hopeless case, and I decided I'd do everything from my end. And that's how a lot of people are. They don't know how to live without worrying, because it gives them a sense of connection, gives them a sense of purpose. The only thing is, when you realize that thought is a vibration that is going out to that person, that it is going out consistently and always, then you have to be aware that's not helping you. So you've got to make sure that those thoughts get dissipated and sent away so that you can live and be joyous in living your life. But joyousness is for another day. So in order just to realize thoughts are important, know that you are loved, and by asking, seeking, knocking, that was the other one, knocking, it shall be open to you. I knew it would come back somewhere along the line. So in other words, doing the action. Action is real important. But I want you to know that you have it all inside. You have it all ready to go. And I just want for everybody to really understand that they are loved. It may not be from the person you want to love you. It may not be from people, but there is an energy that loves you and cares about you. And it's all about acceptance and forgiveness. I quite often I think I've talked about this before, but at the end of the day, and I look back over my day, sometimes I have to forgive myself for things that I've done or said without thinking. And sometimes I just forgive myself for anything I may have done throughout time. I do that too. And how do I forgive myself? As I align myself with the universal love force, because I know that's love. And I know that the more I am clear of my guilt and regrets, the easier my journey is, and especially my transition time when it comes. I want you to have a great week this week. It seems like this is a transition time, as we know, and we don't know really all the ins and outs of what's occurring and what's going. But what you do know is you. What you do know is that you can be at one with yourself and enjoy and love life, what is around. Make it work. Ask for the answers you need. You may not like them, but you'll be able to accept them and make different decisions. Know that your thoughts are powerful. And so think the thoughts of what you really want. And you then be open to receive it. That's what I find a lot of people when they see me, they want to know what they want, but they're not really open to how it may show up because they've already got it figured out in their head. It's supposed to be this way. So I want you to have a good week. I will be back on Sunday for a Sunday thought, and I'll be back next Wednesday, the last Wednesday of January. I wish you well. I send you virtual hug through the ethers, but I definitely send love and blessings And I truly, truly wish you well. Thank you.